Welcome to Patriot Nightcap. And when this premieres, it will be Sunday night, 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, which is Happy Easter.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes. And so for my audience, everyone, this is Beth. Beth, I should call you Beth Anon, right?
Yeah,
author of Love, Joy, Trump, which I am thoroughly enjoying. So I want to dive into this. But first, I'd like to kind of just, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for jumping on. I know my brother was promoting your book as well, I think just as recent as last week.
Right.
So Beth, I was watching one of your interviews that you had sent me, and I didn't know your whole story, you know, sort of rewinding the tape to 2016 when you got sober, right? Is that the year?
Actually, what happened, I got sober in 2012.
Okay.
And it was basically like, definitely God was telling me like, you know, that's it. I need you sober.
Okay.
And yeah, so
you
there
felt
was
like you had a God moment where.
Yeah, it was a God moment where, I mean, I knew for a long time, I mean, being honest now in retrospect, obviously that I was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. And I don't have a problem saying that. It's kind of like a diabetic. If you're a diabetic, you need to take your insulin. You know, the ones that have that diabetes that needs it, not the diet ones. And alcoholism is a disease. It's an illness. It's a allergy. First of all, it's a physical allergy, an obsession of the mind, and a spiritual malady. It's all three of those things. And if you don't treat it, you know, they're like right now, I'm a decade sober now, 10 years.
Wow, but, congratulations.
Thank you. But it's funny, it doesn't mean my disease, like it's gone. I still have the ism. And the ism is right there. But the fact that I stay in program, I work the steps of AA, and I have sponsees. I help other people. Spiritual fitness is super important to me. Well, I need it because if I don't have it, I'm going to slide off the beam. I can feel it. It's like, I just like to feel joy. If I'm in joy, and that's where the Lord wants us anyway. That's, to me, that's what walking in Christ is, being in joy. If I'm not, then I'm not reflecting Christ. So I have to look at, where am I blocking Christ in my life? And so that's why I love, I have a bunch of spiritual practices I'll share with you. I like your Buddha there.
Oh, thank you.
And it's funny. I know you're the normie.
Yeah, this was a gift, and I love it too. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, look, I've got a little Trump Buddha there.
Oh yeah, there you go. And that's fantastic.
Oh my God, he is a little Trump Buddha.
Oh, cute. That's funny. You know, I do want to talk to you about that. 1 second, hold on. Because sorry, I had to turn my my Alexa
It's
off.
very funny. I can tell you're the normie in the family because you got the bar behind you.
Oh.
She's the normie. She doesn't have.
Okay, so in my defense, so my husband works in the liquor business.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, I followed up on you. I googled.
Okay. Oh, how funny! Because he's very proud of this bar. But I know. Here we are talking about the subject matter, and I'm like, oh, check out my bar.
A lot of people don't. In fact, the funny thing is, this is interesting for your guests. Alcoholics, when they process alcohol, it turns to acetaldehyde. They don't process it outright. That's what sets off the craving. Normal people process it out of their body. It's a different function. So
maybe so, but I will say I never feel better than when I jump up and I run to the gym and I feel great and I have a better day because I didn't drink the night before.
It's true. Well, it is a depressant. It's poison, really. It is poison in a lot of ways. It can be. I mean, yeah, some people can handle it better than others, but yeah, it's not like it doesn't add anything to your life.
So now we're getting our snake venom in the water, and
I know that was so
behind me. I'm still alive, Beth.
Oh, well, God's grace. I mean, really, when you think of what they've been trying to do to us.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's like that thing with you know, the other day when I guess Trump said the F word, it was like about time, really, because I mean, it's when Christ was at the temple, when they're turning over the tables of the, you know, the
I
people
love
that were
that.
selling the sacrifices,
Flipped it over. Yeah.
money changers, right, to buy a dove to offer it for sacrifice and all that. I mean, what they've done to us between the chemtrails, the GMOs, the snake venom, God knows what, everything, the programming. This is like time for the F word. This is like
Mhm.
major. You
About
know,
time we have the F bomb.
yeah, no, this is heavy stuff. So
Let me
yeah,
ask you something. Let's rewind the tape a
okay,
little
all
bit
right, okay,
to, you said you went sober in 2012. Is that
yeah.
okay? So what triggered that, and how important was it for you to go through the steps? Because I know a few people who white knuckle it.
Right, right. You know
And
what? Yeah,
I really do want to know that, because I was listening to you earlier and you talk about taking inventory, you know, redemption and all of this. Like, what if you just say like, okay, I'm just not doing it anymore, and I'm on my own. And but I, you know, but I'm not saying me, I'm just saying
right, right.
anyone, you know, but I pray and I hope and you know,
To
so
be honest, you know, I love the program, the 12 steps, because it's really is a redemption process. It's like Christ, basically it was based on Christ's teachings. The big book comes from First Corinthians and Sermon on the Mount. And it's all about that redemption process where you repent, you
mhm,
change, and you make amendments. And then you live doing the right thing. Next right action. I mean, the whole program is about like the next right action. You know, I don't go out of the moment. I live in the moment. And
right.
I can tell what's the right thing to do, what's not. In fact, when I was in my disease, it was very convenient to take another Xanax and do the next wrong thing. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? I had to take the
sure.
Xanax to do the next wrong thing.
Oh my
So
God.
I still had, even in my
Yeah.
disease, I knew right and wrong. And
Uh-huh.
yet I was inebriating myself so I could keep, you know, whatever, dancing into the dark. But I love it. It's kind of like, you know, it's like think of it like Mary Magdalene. You know, she she was forgiven much because she loved much. It's like we have to be able to, I mean, part of the experiences we have and maybe dancing onto the dark side is part of what enables us to help other people, because I do work with other people and it's amazing how you feel. You know, I just was working with a girl last weekend and I just spent 2 hours with her, and
Mm,
I mean, we both come out of there like so shiny, because it's that where two or more are gathered, you're in the presence of the
mhm,
Lord.
mhm,
And the
mhm,
whole point of having a sponsor, sponsee, it's just basically because both of you get out of the way so God is there.
mhm.
And so you get to share, like the fifth, for example, the fifth step is where you share all your dirt, right? And then the great thing is I can do that with someone, and as they're telling me all their stuff, I can tell them all my stuff, and we both get relief from it. And then 6 and 7 is your character defects. And the funny thing was, I couldn't see my character defects until I did step 5. And when I
Mhm.
did step 5, it was like a big weight was lifted from my shoulders and like a cloud that I could see my character defects. And at first it was like, oh my God, I was like covering my mouth because most of my character defects come out of my mouth. And I thought, oh my gosh, can everyone see this? I felt naked, like everyone could see my character. And then I realized, no, it's just God letting me see. And then that was brilliant because then I didn't have to do it anymore. And so my life immediately got better
You
just
must
by
have
not,
felt like just a weight lifting off of
yeah,
you.
and seeing, like I could see myself. Because when you're in the disease, it's all clouded. You think you're right, you know,
Mhm.
and you keep, what is that thing do? Insanity is repeating the same thing over and
Over
over
and over again,
and expecting something to change. Yeah.
different results. Yeah.
Right. And when it finally does, finally, the thing is too, also there's lines in the big book like, glass in hand, we warped our minds to such an extent that only an act of providence could save us. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a real thing for me. I mean, I realized, in fact, I think I was like 2 months into going to meetings, and I was sitting there and I was one day like, oh my God, I'm bloody mentally ill. But it was great because it was like, oh my God, I'm going to work this program. I'm going to do these steps because I could see there was a solution for it. And then go progress along, you know, down into the program a few years and getting some sanity back. I mean, the first 2 years I was pretty crazy. I think David's doing a lot better than I did the first couple of years.
Mhm.
You
Do
know,
you
I
think
was,
so? Do
oh
you?
yeah, yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. And I've talked to him too if he wanted to work the steps, just because the thing is there's that blind spot that any of us can get at any time, a temporary blind spot, they call it, where we could just pick up a drink without even knowing we're doing it. And
Mhm.
somehow the steps kind of help you to not do that. But you know, that's something for everyone to, you know, decide to do, you know, on their own time. But It was funny. The other thing was, as I went further along in the program, and also you become more, I felt like in the beginning, I was really hollow, and I get more full, like more real, like more authentic
Mhm.
as into myself. Because when you're sober, you're the whole thing, you're spending more time with your true self, with your God self.
And you're getting to know yourself again,
To know
right? Because
yourself.
you've
Yeah, you're
been
not
masked.
running away, right? Because you've been running away from. You didn't even realize you were running. Like I grew up. My father was an alcoholic, and he abandoned us when I was a child. So I had all that, and yet I used to say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I never had a father." And yet, it's funny because at 9 months sober, I went through this whole realization. I really did care, not having a
Oh,
father.
yeah, of
And
course.
then it was funny because I could see how I would
You
even
were
without.
probably just protecting yourself through the denial,
And it
right?
was funny because I have 6 daughters, and I actually sometimes was actually even jealous of them on some kind of subconscious level of them having a father. So it's amazing all the things you find out when you get sober. And that's what I love too
Sure.
about the program. All more will be revealed. More, and the more you keep asking for more revelations, you get it.
Wow. Well, you know what? Yeah, because everybody has their blind spots. I mean, we do. We have a
And
we
it
have
goes on
blind
and on.
spots.
That's what I love too, because you know how the other thing I was to say about the mentally ill part, I also learned that if you don't if you don't act mentally ill, you're not mentally ill. So the thing is, once you get you're not acting out of the disease, then you're not mentally ill. So it's not, I don't want to make people think like, oh, you're mentally ill. But it's when we're in the disease, we do act crazy. We do things we would never do sober,
Right.
you know.
Right. So what do you think separates, like, so for the person who says, okay, wow, I need to get sober,
Uh-huh.
what separates that person from the person who's just hell bent on
Yeah.
going the other direction, no matter what? Do you think that that's a degree of mental illness? Like, because nobody in their, I believe,
Yeah.
no, and I have a little bit of experience with this. So it's like, I don't believe that anybody in their right mind would choose pain. Like you just
Yeah.
wouldn't, in your right mind, you just would not rationally keep choosing pain.
Well, like you said, basically, usually the people, like I'm thinking of your sister right now,
Mhm.
or my father, or people that don't make it, and they're not in their right mind by the time they're still continuing on the path. It becomes a thing where, I mean, the brain stem, some people's brain stems actually explode from the alcohol. I mean, so when you think you have such a fevered brain, a hot brain, you're not really thinking properly at a certain, we all can cross over a certain point where we can't make the decision anymore. And I think that's what happens with the people that don't.
Beth, it's interesting you should say that because more than once I would have this image of of my older sister. Just it's kind of like when the waves start taking you out in the ocean. And then I remember one time that actually happened to me, and I got so far out there I could not get back in. They had to send a boat out
Yeah.
to
Wow.
save
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But that, when you just finally you're just so far out there, and you just can't get back in. It's like
Yeah.
you're swept away.
Yeah. I think that's it. And it's a gnarly disease. If we realize, if it was like, if the world wants you to be inebriated, right? The whole like New World Order, crazy Maya illusion wants you totally like drunk and stoned and not paying attention. So
Mhm.
I feel like as we go into a new earth where people are more focused on health, their own and each other's, it's going to be more of it's not going to be as common because there will be more just healthy ways to, like, for example, Sandy Beach, he saved a lot of people from the grave. He's a great speaker of AA, and he said less than 1% of people get lifetime sobriety. And he said that, like, how sobering this disease. If people knew how bad this disease was, they'd pay
Yeah,
a lot more attention to it.
truly,
And a
truly.
lot of it's been also like, like they planned a lot of this. Like the deep state in the 80s decided to make wine coolers to get more women alcoholics. I mean, a lot of it has been, put into our programming too, like to just
Well,
encourage it.
sure, and liquor stores on every corner,
Right. Yeah. It's
you
like the
can,
church. Or just
I
like
know.
there was a French PR guy that was brought over to America in the 50s to get people out of the malls, and I mean, sorry, out of the churches and into the malls. And it
Mhm,
succeeded, in the 60s,
mhm,
they pretty much
mhm,
did that.
mhm.
So I think that we're going to switch over to more God-centered and healing, and yeah, it'll be
So
helpful.
I want to talk about that moment where you sort of did a springboard, or you said that God kind of tapped you on the shoulder and said, okay, you need to be what, like a spokesperson for Trump, or a,
Oh yeah, okay. That
okay,
was
because I want to just say something interesting. So I don't know if you know this, but So for 3 years, I worked for Donald Trump. It was 2007 to
Wow.
2010 in New York. Well, I was a real estate broker doing my thing out there, and worked in one of his offices, met him several times, and always just viewed him as like the consummate salesman, just like a
Right.
businessman, a salesman, nice guy, you know. So I have my flashbacks on that, but I never had like your moment, like, oh my God, he's a prophet. It was never like that. But I did
Right.
have the moment where I was like, hang on a second. And then you have to understand, obviously, the culture of New York.
Right.
Okay. Where I said, whoa, 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 Russia hoax. What? I was
Yeah.
like, this isn't complete. This is a hit.
Right.
It's a
Right.
hit on this man. And let me say for the record, all of the women who worked for him, I mean, he promoted them into the highest positions, you know, and so he was very pro, you know, femininity, you know, pro women, supported them and everything, and was always nothing but a gentleman to me, you know what I mean? And every building that I went into, I'm like, I see everybody working for this guy, like racist, you know, he's a racist, he's,
Sure.
you know,
Right.
this whole thing. And I said, wow, okay. So now, but when I talk to some of my New York friends, and let's say they're watching the show Sunday, maybe, or maybe not, you know, a lot of them would say to me, you know, why would you listen to a single word he has to say? He inflates numbers, liar, liar, liar. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. I'm like, well, he's a damn good businessman
Yeah.
because he lost everything and came back,
Right.
you know, so there's that. But I only had the most positive experiences. So, and then I was, you know, reading an excerpt out of your book, and I 100%, you know, can I just read a little bit?
Of course,
Um,
please.
he's, you know, the first president in history to actually confiscate drugs, make arrests to end the flow of drugs into our country, instead of making money off of them like all the previous cabal-owned presidents. Hallelujah to that. He's doing the same with gun smuggling and, most importantly, human trafficking. And I'm really big on that. The biggest business and biggest scourge on the planet ever in history. Those paying attention can see how we're moving to save the innocents. So you can keep up to date on the Department of Justice official website. You know, you go on, but this is true. I mean, he had his daughter running the whole the human, you know, trafficking and everything. I love Tim Ballard. I love Operation Underground Railroad. So, and I'm not pro, you know, I don't believe that our borders should just be open. I mean, look
Right.
what's happening. Look what's happening.
Invasion. Total
The
invasion.
total invasion. So you had that moment. I had that moment for different reasons.
Right.
Yours seems to have been a little more on the spiritual side because now we have a chorus of prophetic voices, right?
Right.
So what was that all about? And tell me more about how you were inspired to write this book.
Well, yeah, it was funny because I was pretty much a lib dem hippie mom. You know, I really was not political at all. And in 2016, you know, when he came down the escalator, all of a sudden it was like God said to me, "Look, you have to have his back." And I'm like, "What? You know, Donald Trump?" I mean, I just knew he was like this. I thought he's this ego-headed guy. Whatever. I didn't really.
Yeah.
And then so I just started like following the Agya. Agya is like an Indian word for divine direction. So I just started following, and basically everything they said about him, I would just research and find out it was a lie. They
Yeah.
were lying about every single thing they said about him. So when I was doing all that research and you know, I was trying to like tell my friends, oh no, because every time they say something, I'd be, and then it was like basically I came across all these people back since the 80s that were praying all around the world for him because they knew he was the one that was chosen to be like a modern day Cyrus or a Jehu to or modern day David, like a heart like David, to help lead the charge to dismantle the Luciferian agenda.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, it was great. I mean, there's one guy in Italy, this guy, Tom Skinner, he was over there putting bricks in the churches there for masses so they could be said, you know, with Donald Trump's name on it. Because he said, this is back in the 80s, that he was going to be, he was like the New York Playboy that's going to bring everyone to God in America. And so it just was, I just kept going. And then that's how I got the book. But it was funny because when I started to write the book, I thought, oh, no one's going to publish it because, of course, they all hate us. They're all owned by the cabal, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
then,
How did
yeah,
you get it published?
yeah, so my friend, you know, you probably know Dustin Nemos. He's a truther, and he put this book together. Q,
Okay.
Invitation.
Yes.
So I thought, well, maybe that publisher will publish me. So I got in touch with her, Monica. She
Great.
Relentlessly Creative Books, and she loved the idea. So we took us about 2-3 years, brought everything together, and then published it. And it was amazing because as soon as we got it on Amazon in September of 2021, they said they started shadow banning, blocking it. They said it was white supremacist. And then I got kicked off all the platforms when Trump did, off of Twitter, off of everything. So I have had no voice really at all. So I've kind of just been hanging back thinking that, you know what, when he comes back publicly, then I'm going to take off. Because then this is like the I told you so book. You know,
Yes.
I told you so. And
Yes.
God told you so, because this is
Yes.
God's plan.
Yes.
You know, all these prophets in here. And it's funny because a lot of the prophets that said no, that didn't want to be in the book, are a lot of these ones now that are being called out to be kind of shady. So it was really kind of cool, you know, because a lot of it, you know, God just had my back in
Yeah.
getting the real people. And of course, Mike Lindell wrote the intro to this.
I saw that. I know. I read
You know,
that.
and of course, we all love him. Oh my God, what he's doing. You know, his book. Have you read his book, this one?
I haven't read it. No.
Well, this, I mean, it's amazing because he went crack addict to CEO, and now God's taking him CEO to like amazing, you know, saving our country, patriot. He's just brilliant.
Yes.
Oh, and I love these books here. These books.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Beth. Of course. When the lights go out and the Mexican mix. God bless.
Yeah, and I love your family. I read that interview with your, I mean, I watched the video with your parents. So cute.
Oh, you did. I know. You know what? It's, you know, Beth, because I feel like, gosh, you know, I just think that you know, there's such treasures,
So
and
sweet.
with so much knowledge, you know, and
you still have them. I mean, my parents, my husband and I, our parents have been gone for decades.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
you still have them.
It's, I know, Beth, and that's the thing. My brother and I talk about this all the time. We're like, wow, how lucky are we? We still have them, you know? And so, yeah, I wanted to bring them on because I'm like, gosh, if I could have a little history channel of my own, and then, you know, to have my parents on there, that's the best thing in the world. And I also feel like seniors get, I don't know, they get blown off. You know, it's like, what are we, why is that? Like, they're the
whole youth culture. Like, okay, you're not attractive anymore. You're not whatever. You're not in the
and
whatever.
You don't know, and the fact is they know everything.
Of course.
Such wisdom and experience. And so it is kind of funny because, you know, it'd be great probably to have an interview like with my dad and my brother to see their
that would be great. You should do that. That would
I know, I just thought of that because it's like, you know, my dad having, you know, he'll say about okay, so I mean, everybody kind of knows our lives are a little bit of, you know, it's like an open book, but my dad will say, like, oh, I was a sailor when I was 17. They stuck me with every shot, you know, and he's, and then he's like, he'll pick up my phone and he's like, you think you're not microchipped like right now? You know, I'm like, well, good point, Dad. You know, actually, he's like, come on, you know. So it's just kind of funny.
If he's lived a whole life too,
and he's lived a whole life,
and all these things too, when they've gone through, like, well, not to say he went through the Depression, he's not that old, but I was just thinking about the fact, the way they've controlled us all this time. Like, look at that Depression. That was horrible for so many people, and yet they did it purposely, took all the money for their friends,
right,
and let humanity just suffer, you know. And it's just the evil they've perpetrated over and over. And that's why it's just so important that this time we really root it out and expose all of it so that everybody can see it, so it never happens again.
So do you think so you obviously believe it's being exposed? And that's one question I want to ask my brother. Like, when are we going to see the Sound of Freedom film come out?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like, I feel like there's certain things, Ghislaine Maxwell, it's like these things that happen and you're like, okay, you can track a cold virus, but not the elite pedophiles, because they're all pointing the finger to one another. So what do? We just sit here in this merry-go-round of of evil circus and be woke to it? Like, what, you know, like, I have this platform and we talk about it.
Right. Yeah. And that's good, because we just see more and more people that keep getting platforms. So we're all talking about it, like, you know, like the Mockingbird media, right? Where they've got 4,000 people saying the same thing. We need to turn into them.
Right. So raising the consciousness and keeping the conversation going. But when are these, you know, these evil criminals?
I think it's really close now. I think, you know, I totally, like, you know, when I was from the first Q post, I was there. And I could tell immediately that this was not, that this was for real. And as it went on, I mean, it was interesting because all these people I've met, like you, and I think the reason we're all connected, what I love through the Q movement, it was like black, white, gay, straight, old, young, because we're all resonating on the same divine truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I loved about it. And that's where I get it's authentic. And they couldn't do it. They have to take their time again to wake everybody up. We can't bring everybody to like 5 years of information in a week.
Right.
The,
Right.
the circuits will just blow up. It's not possible. So that's why we're watching this Biden presidency and all these things, for people to wake up. But and I guess also they say there's things in place because there's things that could happen, like that inauguration. I heard it went through because there were attempted, the suitcase with a nuclear bomb or whatever. I mean, the good guys, human life is precious. They want to protect it. The other side doesn't care. That's why they do their false flags and everything else.
What's your opinion, your true opinion? Because I read you were writing a little bit about Putin. What's your opinion?
Oh, I love him. I love Putin, which is
Okay.
very funny now because I'm like, there's a new rock song about Putin, and I'm out there dancing in the park to it. My kids are like, Mom, because I'm the grandmary too. They call me grandmary. I have 5 granddaughters under 5.
Oh, that's right.
And
Wait,
so it's
how
funny.
many? How many?
5
Five under?
granddaughters under 5, 6 daughters, and
How
5
are you
granddaughters.
surviving? Wow.
I'm pretty busy, but it's funny. So I'm in the park and they say, Mom, because they don't want me to talk, right? Even though, thank God, they're all awake. They woke up a lot during COVID. I mean, in the beginning, 5 years ago, they're like, oh my God, you're homophobic, you turned homophobic, you're, all these things. And now I'm showing them, hey, those transgenders that were reading that I was telling you about in the library, they said I was homophobic. Now they
Right.
were arrested for being pedophiles.
Yeah, yeah.
They're getting it, but they're still, they say, Mom, you fish. It's like, and I do fish because they've put us in a position. We have to be careful how we start a conversation, right? Because we can't
No.
offend anyone. Everyone's afraid to talk to each other, but I'm still going to do it.
I know.
We
Listen,
have to keep
it's so
red
ridiculous.
pilling.
I
We have
love
to keep red
one of your quotes in here. I don't know. Did you say this that Trump is the wrecking ball?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think
Political
Lance Corona
correctness.
said that. But yeah, and I love, what Donald, his name means world leader under the grace of God who will excel and triumph.
Mhm,
And a
mhm.
lot of people have said that he's at some point, he's going to be beyond president of America. He's going to be like, I don't know what the title will be, but
Mhm,
he'll be like a world leader,
mhm.
beyond
Well,
just.
I have to say I'm a big fan of his daughter, and I would love to see her run
Yeah, that would be great.
for
And
president. I really would.
yeah, me too. Yeah, no, that would be great. In fact, there's another prophecy. You probably heard of this book, Mark Taylor. He's amazing. That's who I also woke up from, Mark Taylor's prophecies about Trump.
Sure.
They resonated, they were for real. And he also said he got his thing is at swordrescue.com. That's SORD rescue, RESCUE.com. And you can look at all his prophecies on there. Half of them have come true. They're all legitimate. He's like a real authentic person. In fact, he told me that, well, let me tell you that prophecy said first. He said there's going to
Sure,
be
yes.
5 Trumps in the White House. There could be 5 Trumps.
It's a total,
As
a total
president,
dynasty.
as
A total
president, a
dynasty.
dynastic presidency of them. Could be
Mhm,
Don Jr., Ivanka, who knows, ending with Barron. Who
mhm.
knows? That was one of them. But it's amazing because, yeah, it's, there's so much, isn't there?
I know. No, tell me, I mean, what's your strongest, clearest, in your mind, the strongest prophecy, that you would want to share today?
Well, I would just say the fun thing about all this, being called by God to have Trump's back, and then being in all these prophecies the whole time, and also being in the Q movement, I've never had a day of doubt, or, I've had complete faith. I leave no room for doubt, at all, because I know this is all happening. This is God. And all those of us that are awake, we're pretty much the remnant. I wrote my book for the remnant so they could give it to all their friends and family to help wake them up from the TDS, because the remnant are the ones that will not bow no matter what. We will not bow to Satan. We will not do any of this, and we will go all in regardless. Kind of like your brother says, he's got no fear. He's like, that's how we all are that are in the remnant.
Mhm.
And when we do this now, and it's coming up to our time to where we're all going to be, having to stand 100%. And it could be scary, but we're going to have to do it. That's when all our brothers and sisters that are under the spell of the mainstream media and the actual spell, the witchcraft that they put on everyone. that's when it'll
They
break.
certainly own the media.
That's when it'll break, and then they'll start to join us. And
Mhm.
then as that happens, then it's over. We've got it. We've won. You know, at that point, then it's they can't walk down. They can't walk down the street. They can't do anything. You
Mhm.
know, we'll
Mhm.
arrest them. I mean, we'll all have people be able to be marshals and arrest them anyway. But I really do think the military is in charge, and they will make the right moves. You know, as
Well, and speaking of which, like just watching some of these videos of what's happening right now in Shanghai, China is just
oh, that's
terrifying.
heartbreaking. I know,
It's
and
just
it could be here.
yeah. Did you
It
see
could
that?
be here. Yeah.
Can't go outside. They're screaming from their
Oh,
balconies. It's
oh,
like,
it's terrifying. And
and
they could do it here if we didn't have the military.
Second
They
Amendment.
could do it
Yeah.
here. Second Amendment. Yeah, they could do it here.
I
So, yeah.
like people need to really realize how important this is
And
because
most people
it's
don't. Most
happening.
people just think, I don't care. I don't care. I talk to a lot of people who say, I don't care. I don't care. And
No,
even though,
you can't live in that bubble.
and I've had so many of these because, you know, I've been meditating since 1981. And so it's funny, my Facebook went from all these like meditating conscious people to like all patriots, like overnight.
Yeah.
And all these conscious meditating spiritual people hate me now. They all think I'm like mentally ill. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, I knew when I was sitting out in New York, and then of course I had my brother calling me. He's like, "You have got to get out of there." I'm like, I know, because it just with cancel culture, it was getting worse. And then, the leadership and that city's just falling apart. It's just falling apart.
I
So
can't believe Mount
finally I
Kay is
made the
still
jump.
there. Yeah.
What's that?
I can't believe Mel Kay is still there.
I can't either. I know. I
She's
tell her,
traveling
like,
so much. She's traveling so much too.
I'm sure
So
she's
it's like
probably
she's
has
like
to.
the
She
light
gotta
in the
get out
dark.
of there.
You know, sometimes the light has to be there too. You know, she's doing a great service by being there.
Yeah. Well, yes, yes. Okay. So I think there's a few things with that because I had someone actually say that to me, and I'm like, not when you have a kid.
No, no, it's good you're out. I'm glad where you are. And I looked at your husband's Facebook just because I'm nosy.
Oh,
I love what he
sweet.
does, and I love like those nice hotels.
But
I
I'm
love
very
it.
proud of
I
that
love that.
because
It's
I'll tell
great.
you why on a, just from like a spiritual level, but also just getting the toxins out of your house. So
Yeah,
not supporting the big box stores, just redirecting, but not, but choking them off
yes,
and hitting them in the wallet, voting with your dollars.
yes, I
And
agree.
not, because that's the thing, we keep
Yeah,
doing what we're doing, Beth, because we
yes,
don't think there's an alternative.
right.
But
Yeah,
like
no,
most
and I
people do,
researched the
right?
owners of that too, and because I was doing, you know, Melissa Red Pill the World. She's on your book.
Yes, we talked about this. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, and I love her books. What do we have here? Both of her books.
Yes, yes. I
Um,
know my brother's had her on many times.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and she's another one, kind of like that Dr. Artist. To me, he seemed very genuine.
I
Like
thought so
God
too.
moving him.
I
Even though I know
yeah.
a lot of people are saying he's an actor. If he's an actor, then I'm
Oh,
totally
I thought
off.
he was
I
a
can't read
wait a
anybody
minute.
if he's
I
an
thought
actor.
he was a chiropractor.
Yeah,
Is he
I know, but
actor?
there's some people, but the people that are saying it are people like Jordan Sather, who was a CIA, and he's got a lot of yeah,
Well,
whatever.
what made sense to me though is I thought, okay, hold on, wait a minute, snake venom, and no wonder you lose sense of taste and smell. That makes sense actually to
Yes,
me.
there's a lot of things he said that made sense, and we'll find out. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's still good to
And
move
your
the
diaphragm being
yeah.
affected.
And it's moving the conversation forward. And you know what? Regardless, they should be looking at our water because
I
that's been
know.
so poisoned anyway.
I know. I know. That's
Yeah, let me say, you know what? By the way, I also thought when I was coming on here, I've got a lot of guests I can get you. A
oh,
lot of
Beth.
guests,
Okay,
you
fantastic.
know, just a lot of
You know
great
what?
guests.
Because it was Liz Bascom who
Oh
said,
yeah, Liz, yeah.
yes,
I love her. She's on fire. She's
she is.
fearless. She's
She
fearless.
is. She's fearless. She's one of my favorite people. So she's in the toxic free,
Yeah. And you know, it's
movement.
funny, I did it
Patriot
with
movement.
Melissa, but then I
Yeah.
never did it. So I probably will come back at some point, but it just wasn't, I
Yeah.
wasn't, I
It
buy the stuff, I
wasn't.
still buy the stuff under Melissa, but
Okay. Okay. Hey,
I'm not good at selling.
don't worry about it. It's all divine right timing. It's all good.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is the time. I think. Well, for me to say first of all, thank you. Like it's been a pleasure talking to you. This is Easter.
Yeah.
It's Christ rose, and so this is a great time to renew certain things. Our faith and to
Every day.
try to take a positive outlook. So it's been really nice having you on here
And
because
the resurrection, how much more positive do we need?
do we need? I even
That
wore
can
white. I'm like, I'm gonna wear my
happen.
white
I
shirt.
love that. That's beautiful.
You
Well,
know,
that's lovely. It's Easter. Well, I want to share something else that I found
okay,
really,
please.
this is amazing. This is called Hear Yourself by Prem Rawat. Now,
Okay.
the reason I bring this up, this is a practice. It's an inner practice. You can find more at premrawat.com. Prem means love in Indian. Rawat means royal. And I found this practice in 1981. I literally was, God woke me up by the back of the neck and said, let's go in 1981. And Christ was he showed me, he was inside of me, and I just needed to, thy will be done, and just surrender my life totally.
Amazing.
So that was my life. And then I was traveling around the world, and everywhere I went, I would meet someone that said, well, have you met Prem Rawat? Have you met Prem Rawat? I go, no, it's me and God. I'm having a great life. I don't need a middleman, whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just kept going. And eventually I ended up in a library in Florida one afternoon, and I met someone, and they said, well, do you want to come see Prem Rawat tonight? So I said, oh my gosh, let me see this Prem Rawat, because everywhere I go, everyone's telling me, so I'll go see. And when I saw him speak, inside my heart, it said, of course I want this knowledge. It's just so beautiful. I'll tell you what it is. It's an inner practice. It's free and it's priceless because it's real. And it basically is 4 techniques to go inside of yourself. It's light, sound, like light, the light that's brighter than the sun, the light inside of you, the divine light, the sound of creation, this which is inside of you, keeping you alive. The holy word, the primordial vibration, that energy that's keeping you alive. And then nectar, the living waters inside of you that Christ talked about. And this knowledge is something, my experience is that this is what Christ was offering his disciples. So anyway, I received the gift of knowledge, and then I practiced it. I practiced it every day since. And what happens when you practice it, somehow, I don't know how any of this works, it's like a miracle, but within 10 minutes, Beth is gone, and I'm just in God, in the Holy Spirit. And then when I come out, it's literally like my cup runneth over, like David said, my cup runneth over, and I'm full. And then it's like I have a complete meal. I can't explain it. It feels good, right? It feels like it's the most natural thing. And I've been told, it's like, when we're thirsty, we drink water, or we're hungry, we eat food. This is like this is a real thing for your spiritual fulfillment. So anyway, I always like to share about that.
Can you hold that book up again?
Yeah.
And I apologize, my dog's just
Okay.
unplugged my computer. How to Find Peace in a Noisy World. Hear Yourself.
And you know what's so
Prem
cool
Rawat.
too? It's also on Audible, and I love it. I leave it in the car, and sometimes I even sleep with it, because as an alcoholic, I have like a mind on speed. So I don't
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I get that.
Or I'll listen, like, it's funny, the last few years with all the COVID, I started putting on, I couldn't get to meetings, so I put on EWTN, the Catholic network.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Funny, all of a sudden, because my roots are Catholic, but I wasn't. I kind of I had all these Marian experiences, and now I love the rosary. I play that, like,
yes,
11-hour rosaries while I sleep.
That's how my mother raised us, Catholic, and then
Lutheran.
I don't know what kind of jump.
Yeah, I've like fallen into it. And it's funny, Mel Gibson, I know him from raising our kids together here in Malibu, and he has his own church, Holy Family Church.
Oh, good. Really?
He built his own church because he knew about the Luciferian infiltration.
Oh my!
He wasn't going to practice idolatry. And so he's got his own church. It's beautiful. I'll send you some pictures. And so I go there, when I go to church. And it's funny, very few people go there. It's all
Who knew that Mel Gibson has his own church? I didn't know that.
And it's because but it all connects to this Luciferian infiltration. They've infiltrated everything, like the school board. Like Rockefeller started the school board. Like that's why we have to get rid of all those 3-letter agencies, or the IRS, the school board, the CIA, the FBI. None of that, like Mel says, none of that was part of the Constitution. It was just we the people, and we send some representatives to have a conversation, period. All the rest has to be dismantled.
Right.
That's how they've gotten into everything.
Yes. No, and believe me, Beth, I'm a very concerned parent, and I'm always trying to, stay aware and involved in her school to see, like, what are they teaching, and you have to know what's going on. And
like Mark Taylor said, all the churches now, they're all going to be exposed. I don't know if you know, there are a lot of being exposed of all these pastors and all, in which you could tell half of them were corrupt anyway with their multi-million-dollar jets and homes and all this stuff. I mean, how much Christ is in that? You
Well,
know,
the pedophilia, I mean, that's
yeah.
all been going on, and
All that, it
the,
goes back to, well,
the
the
church in the
sacrificing to
church.
Baal, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's been going back to all. In fact, I love this guy, Gary Wayne. I got him on his conspiracy, Genesis 6 conspiracy. It's
Mhm.
basically all about the fallen angels, because this, everything that's happening now, it's not new. It's going back to basically the line of Cain and the line of Adam, like the children of God and the children of the fallen angels, the Nephilim, and this whole good versus evil,
Mhm.
and so that's
Mhm.
this war. It's been going on, and that's why the Luciferian, the Freemason, it's all the same thing. And I love how what he does is bring it up to current, where it is the current day, but he shows us where it came from. So we're still fighting the same fight, but this time we win. This time we win.
We
And that,
have to win, Beth,
yeah.
and also the Jackson lady who just got
Oh, I know, it's insane.
I know, and her history of going light on the
Yeah,
pedophiles.
and the
It's like,
adrenochrome and all that, that's really also what brought me in. When I found out that this was all real with the children, the adrenochrome, and all the trafficking and the organ harvesting. I saw a video of organ harvesting with a guy walking in a little 4-year-old girl into a room to harvest her organs with all these bags of people. And that I couldn't, I couldn't tell.
where did you
That
see
was
that?
somewhere online. It came along, and then
Oh God.
so I've seen some things where I couldn't turn my back, because I also realized that it's really important too, especially us baby boomers. I'm older than you, but a lot of us were like the last generation that we have to act. We can't just close our eyes to this, because it'll be our children and our grandchildren that will be in that system, that'll be in a system of adrenochrome and organ harvesting and whatever. We don't stop it now.
We
So
have
that's why
we have to keep speaking, and we have to break this this disgusting
yeah, we have to. I like what Mel K said too. We just have to. We just have to get out there more about these things, and that's why I talk to people about it. Even though it's funny, one of my friends does spray tan, and my friends are making, because she's like me, and she goes, "Yes, she spray tan." She's telling about the Luciferian cabal while she's
while she's spray tanning.
yeah,
Hey.
it.
She's like, I'm gonna spray this away.
Yeah, and it's funny here in Malibu too with all these celebrities. I mean, I know a lot of them.
Oh, I'm sure you do. You must
And
have
now it's funny because
tell the audience a funny story. Come on, we're done.
Well, it's been funny because a lot of it too, and now especially with the ones, supposedly the ones that are dead, that are still alive, it's hysterical because you just don't. I just basically backed off a lot more. I mean, I never was an idol worshiper. I've always had God first, but I have been guilty of like.
Of course, and you're in Malibu, so yeah, that makes.
But now I'm just the opposite. It's almost like I go the other way if I see them, because I mean, I see
you're running the other direction.
I mean, the fact that like Cindy Crawford, she has a local restaurant right here, Cafe Habana, right? It's all like got all the Actually, it's funny. Your parents will probably appreciate this, but no, this is more Florida and Cuba. But it has all the communist pictures and stuff in the restaurant. But in California, that's fine. Everyone loves that. But they opened a branch in Miami, and evidently they didn't expect the blowback. All these Cubans came and said, "What the hell?" You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had blowback on it
because they know they lived it, right? And their ancestors, of course.
The fact that like she gets invited to the Vatican with Chelsea Clinton to talk to the Pope about the Green New Deal. It's like,
yeah, wow.
So
Cindy
much
Crawford, I didn't realize that. I just remember her from like Richard Gere days. I don't know.
Yeah, right. And then, I mean, it's funny. It's just, I just can't wait.
You must see some funny stuff out there.
Yeah, and also, that OTO, Order of Templars Orientis. It's like a high ranking of the Satanism, Luciferianism, Freemason, and I mean they've got like, well, maybe I shouldn't name names.
But I don't know. I mean,
yeah, it's hard to name names, but it's funny because there's people that what I've learned is this: all these Hollywood celebrities with all these stories, like I came to Malibu with a bag of hair conditioner, and now I'm John Paul DeJoria, and I'm
right.
And they all seem to lose like family members or partners. Things happen, or people that I was just in the checkout line, and then now and Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm just a lot of the stories where it was too good to be true, but I believed them because I wanted it to be true for me.
Mhm.
I've come to find, mostly.
That most of them traded their souls or what?
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to go that far, but just that there's a lot more to it. And yeah, there's different
A
things
lot
that
more than meets
follow
the
up.
eye.
A
Yeah.
lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it makes sense now because we did. The thing is, there's been a lot of light shed in the last few years, and more light. The vibrant, like remember 2012 when we had that thing? There was something. It was some kind of
Yes.
awakening.
Yes.
And I noticed.
It
I
ended up
saw.
being nothing though, right?
Well, it's funny. Nothing happened like obvious, but what I noticed, I noticed more people talking about God after that in 2012 as more, yeah, than there was before. So I
Mhm.
think the vibration, it has been rising, and then the light, and that's why we're seeing this more. We see things now. We don't just take it on face value, and we take it deeper, and we do some research. We connect. We follow the money. We see who's connected to who, and
Yeah.
then it does become obvious, and then we say, okay, well,
I try to set my day straight.
oh, I love that.
And thank you, Liz Bascom. She was
Yeah,
like, "You
Liz
need to
sends
get
me that
that."
every day too. And now I said, what a beautiful change, because I've been sending that. She sends that. I send it to my girls. And
Yes.
loving it.
And you know what? It sets my day. I say the Our Father, and I have my meditation in the morning, that my mom taught me basically, just to kind of, anchor
Yeah,
yourself.
that's the main thing. That's what they tell you, like start the day like that. And if
Yes.
you fall out of it, you come back in. You just keep going
And
back
then I
in.
throw my little rockets of intention out there, and some days are better than others, but always I think, from that place of gratitude for sure.
Yes, it's always gratitude. Like I do
Yeah.
ABC gratitude lists, and
Pulls you right out of whatever funk you might be
sure,
in.
because if you just, I mean, I think thank you is the best prayer. Thank you is the best prayer.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to worry who you're saying it to. It will get to the right,
It'll get to
it will
right.
get to the right giver of breath. That's the thing
Yeah.
too. I like a lot of, I mean, I love all my Christian friends, but there's a lot of Christians that are so anal, trying to put everyone in a box. And it's like, just live like Christ. If you're living in Christ, guess what? They'll know it. You'll emanate Christ, and there won't be, you won't
Always
even,
remember, didn't Christ sit down with, the tax collectors, the prostitutes? Those are the people he was interested in.
yeah. And he was
The
going for people
people
from the heart. It was all about
from
the
the
heart.
heart. Yeah,
and
from the
and that,
heart.
because that's
Everyone.
where he resides. He's placed himself in us in the mercy seat of the heart, and that's what I love about that practice I told you about, because I basically go inside my heart, and it's such a blessing to get out of my head.
Yeah. Are there specific meditations in that book? Is that
So what it is, let's say when you look at that or you listen, what you'll do, you'll still end up going, because you ask for it. It's funny, it's something you ask for it, and it's a gift. Now, how he can give this gift, I have no idea.
is
But
there
I'll tell
one that is there a favorite meditation that maybe we could close the show out with a beautiful meditation? I'm down.
yeah, that's lovely. Well, the funny thing is, again, since this is his gift of knowledge, I would say everybody check out premrawat.com and then click Peak, Peak. That's
Okay.
peace, education, and knowledge. And if
Okay.
you go there, it'll actually tell you what you're looking for. And
Okay.
what's so cool, let me tell you a little more about it. He's been going around the world giving this gift out since he was 4 years old, with audiences of 500,000 people at a time. And he goes to prisons all over the world. The funny thing is, people in
Oh.
prisons have this peace before us out here that are so
Oh.
clever. And they're like blissed out in life sentence prisons, because they're actually connected with their divine selves inside. So yeah, it's really powerful. And he
That's
goes through it.
amazing.
It is amazing. And actually, the other thing too, prisoners that are in prison, if they leave before they're done the peace education program, they
Mhm.
ask if they can come back. And then they also say, I want to come back and give it to other people. I want to help other people get this experience.
Wow, what a lesson.
And yeah, you're gonna love it. And that's all, my most happiest thing to share is that knowledge, because that's been the most
Beth, I really, it's, I love doing these because you never know what, nugget or gem you're going to take, you know what I mean? Out of anyone I speak to, it's like, okay, gosh, I never
and
knew
you're,
that.
and you're open. See, that's it. And open hearts are the best thing. Open hearts, open minds. And it's funny because, like, it's not like a religion thing. That's what's so cool. It's about like relationship and realization. And that's why, like with my daughters, like it's not like I said, oh, you're going to get knowledge. No. It was, they knew it was there. And then one of my daughters went to Hawaii at 19, and she called me up because oh, Mom, she had an ayahuasca experience, which opened her up.
Oh, okay.
And then she said, Mom, I want to get knowledge. And then like 6 months ago during COVID, two of my younger daughters, like 23 and 25, said, Mom, we want to get knowledge, and it was like, and then they did it. And they're loving it. And it's the most practical experience I know of for inner peace within oneself. And the funny thing is too, Prem always says, it's kind of like they say also in sobriety, like put, that relationship with your creator first. And then it's like the one is there. It's a solid number one. And then if you add zeros to the right side of the one, you can get really, really rich, like 10,000, a million, right? Whereas if you don't have the one, if you don't have the creator first and you have the zeros on the other side, it's just decimal points. You don't have it. So that's kind of with me. I keep that experience, connecting with my creator at one, and then I add on it my rosaries. I add on it maybe going to mass. I add on it my exercise. I add on it my diet, my all these other things. I add on it my
your toxin-free products.
Yeah, right. My toxin-free living. Oh my gosh, because they're trying to poison us from every direction. No, I totally am. Totally. And my kids.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, my daughter.
What goes on your skin goes into your bloodstream.
Of course it does.
Yeah,
no, we use all that. And so I definitely, I'm on board with what you're doing in that.
Yeah.
And I like that family too. I researched them and they're really good family. I
yes.
had to make sure they weren't part of the,
right. No. And you know what? I had the pleasure of meeting him as well and touring the plant and everything. But and he's got a tab, Beth, he's got a tab on his website. It says contact your local official. It's kind of funny to me, because I think he knows we're in a lot of trouble,
Right. Yeah, no, it's good. But there's so many of us. The point is there's a lot more of us than them. It's just that we're not, the media is promoting that small voice of insanity, and they've got it on loudspeaker. So once voices of truth, I mean, can you imagine if the truth was coming out the way the lie is coming out?
No.
I mean, we'd already be in a different world, and that's what's coming, because
I think sometimes I just have to live sometimes in my own little bubble, because let's face it, every time you read the news, whatever is going on in the world, the deaths, no matter where it is, or you may love Putin, but there might still be children either being freed or murdered, so I don't ever want to see any child hurt. So for me, it's about the kids, for me. So,
and like you say, the best way we can help them is to be 100% centered ourselves, because then we're acting out of our God center, we're acting out of our Christ. We're embodying Jesus Christ. And I love Mary too, which is funny because so many people hate Mary now. And what I love, it's funny, I've been listening to this great exorcist. He's the top exorcist in the world. I've been listening in the car to him. And he says, Satan hates Mary more than anything, because he's more afraid of Mary than God, because he's more pissed that a mere creature could destroy him.
Oh, wow.
Mary's like a creature, and that she literally, that's what it says, right? She'll step on her heel. He fears the heel of Mary because she will crush him. I mean, that's.
Who would ever refer to the Virgin Mary as a creature?
I know, but it was a beautiful. Yeah, I know, but it was like created. Like beautiful creature in a good way.
Okay.
I mean, like he's saying that a mere created.
Okay, I was thinking.
Yeah. No, and he's scared. That's like his worst thing. He'd rather have God take him out than Mary.
Yeah.
Because that's even more humiliating.
Right.
Wow. And yet I love that. And the funny thing too, I go back to role models. To me, it's funny, in my younger life, when I was more like in the Mary Magdalene mode, right? Alcoholic out there. I can relate to all that. And now I've come back and I'm older. I'm 67. I'm loving the, all the Mary.
It's like I don't see, sometimes you do have to go out there in order to
appreciate.
To come back and appreciate,
I feel that.
God knows I went out there and traveled and did crazy stuff, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Those are the, those are the,
I couldn't appreciate. Yeah, I couldn't appreciate Mary and what her, and what else I love about Mary? The thing that why I don't understand why everybody doesn't love Mary. All she ever did was say, "Thy will be done. Let it be done according." She said, "Let it be done according to your word." Do what he says. Yeah. Everything she said was, the Lord has blessed me. It's all been, gratitude, praise, surrender. Gratitude, praise, surrender, which to me, like, I love that path. It's called bhakti, devotion. To me, that's the easiest path. Even there's a saint called Mirabai, and that was her experience, with her Lord. And in fact, she went to see her Lord, and everyone made fun of her. And she had a basket of fruit and flowers to take to him, and they filled it with a bunch of snakes. And by the time she got there, they turned back into flowers again. Because of where she was at. And that's us. So if we're just devoted to our Lord, we nothing can touch us. It's kind of like, it's beautiful. I feel like that's why I'm healthy through all this snake venom stuff.
I know.
Find grace. There's so much grace. And I've had that ever since my whole life, really. But I mean, people used to say, like, well, why you have such a great life? You have such a beautiful family. I said, it's a grace. It's a grace. I always blame the grace. And I laugh because the more I blame the grace, the more grace I get.
The more blessings you
have.
The more
blessings I get. It's like I'm cheating. I feel like I'm cheating, but it's like that's been my life. And I'm not, and I'm saying the same thing today I've been saying, my entire life. And it's funny because when I came to this knowledge, actually, I saw myself lifted up into this little crow's nest of safety with God. It's really beautiful. And then I also saw this flower open up inside me, a golden flower open up inside me. I was crying, and I was on a bus, and the person that was taking me to get knowledge, the people on the bus said, why is she crying about God? This was like a magical mystery tour.
Really?
Said, yeah, she is. And then I went to get knowledge. And then as I received the knowledge, it was just profound. Like, it's beyond words, but it was just a beautiful inner knowing that I knew I never wanted to fall from this place of grace.
Yeah.
Because it was, and that's kind of like for each of us. And I think that's a potential in each human being, that flowering of the soul to know God inside. That's why we're created. In fact, that's what I think Prem has said, that's the purpose of human life, to know the creator within inside of you. Because then guess what? You spend the rest of your life, he said, what are you good for, really? You're good for singing the praises. That's what human beings were made to sing the praises.
Sing the praises.
Just like what's that line in the Bible? All of creation longs for the revelations of the sons and daughters of God. That's us right now. That's what we're all doing. And that's what we're doing. And really, when we're doing that, we can't get into any of these little small-minded things where we're,
Yeah, I know. Why is that? With the small stuff.
Going back to that though, but it's cool because we can keep the more
we can really drag you down. But when you're actually lifted in prayer or meditation, and like you said there, before the grace of God go I. That's
it is.
I've said my whole life, and when you live on that plane and then that vibration, it's hard to end from a place of gratitude. Then you can't.
And then everything's clear. You don't even, all your obstacles are gone too, because you want to. I mean, like, I really have to be in the moment. Again, I have been an alcoholic. I have that crazy mind that'll just take me off in the crazy land.
I know, and also I'm learning to sort of live in more of a place of neutrality instead of just reacting,
Right, responding instead of reacting. Like, take your time, pause, always pause, and live in the, because if you live in the moment, if we can live in the pause, which I think we're doing now in our conversation.
Yeah, I do actually.
And it's like God and God inside of us, like Jesus and Mary. And we live in that love, that essence, presence, the presence, everything works.
Everything works. It's
don't go out of it. We don't. And
effortless. And it's the flow of life.
And it's like what I do. Like, that's when I get the guest for your brother. I just go every day. I'll go fishing for a little time. I go fishing. I see who God wants to fish. I fish. Whoever bites, then I say, okay, that I send it to David. So it's just like
so nice. Thank you for thinking of me, Beth, because
I'll
have Sean Stone, I guess, next week. I think I'm talking.
Monday, I think. No, the next Monday. Yeah. But I definitely have a lot of interesting people I've met, and I'll do the same thing and send them around, and I just get a pleasure out of the connection, out of the
connection and sharing and lifting the vibration. And
if you're in service, that's what service is. It's not my idea of service. It's service that I'm being used, right? It's that, what do they say? And sometimes the other service is like, if it's easy, it's not service. It's like, if it's a challenge, that's when it's service. If you're doing things maybe that are not just happening, but you keep, like, perseverance is my biggest thing, right? Never give up, like Trump says, perseverance, because I've seen everything works like that. Just like water will cut through a mountain with just a drop, over time.
Right. Just over time, perseverance.
We're given this life so we can we don't want it to be over in 24 hours, right? It's like, do you complain when you're eating an ice cream cone, when you're licking it? No, you chill out, you lick that ice cream cone. You don't want it to be over.
Right,
That's
right.
what I like. And that's that other thing too. Like, why would a lot of my spiritual friends, they all just can't wait to get to heaven. They just want to die and get to heaven. Like, wait a minute. I said, God created us alive
To experience joy, and heaven is in the midst.
and to be alive. Like, and like, I think I was saying to someone yesterday, like, Christ directed us in the prayer, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
As it is in
Directed
heaven.
us to bring heaven to earth. We're supposed to live in heaven on earth. That was the direction. And we can, if each one of us are in heaven here now. And why would God create us alive if heaven was gonna, be better than life? I mean,
I agree.
I know heaven. I mean, I have every confidence that whatever heaven I'm going to will be wonderful, but I'll probably be able to transition to it because I'm
I
in
know.
heaven here
And,
right now.
Beth, that's one of the reasons why I can't always just focus on the evil and the bad and this, and because it really does affect your your mental state. And so, there's times where I just say, listen.
Oh yeah, that's good. Always do that. I did that. In fact, this whole
And you
time.
have to disconnect and then focus on prayer or the flowers or the fun, the magic that this life has to offer, and we have to enjoy it. And so
feel it, the gratitude, because then you get the gratification.
the
Gratitude,
and the gratitude.
You can't really even express the gratitude unless you felt the gratification.
Absolutely. And I feel this gratification right now. And I want to say thank you. And I want to say you've inspired me. And
you have inspired me. And yes, and yeah, you can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I think they have it on all the book things now, Goodreads. Also in Mike Lindell's My Pillow, the My Store. He's got a My Store there. So it's on the My Pillow, My Store.
Folks,
also.
get your book, Love, Joy, Trump. Thank you. God
Thank
bless.
you. And I'll send you some other guests.
I hope that today was the happiest Easter ever. Because
it's Easter. Oh my
it
gosh,
will be Sunday.
This is an awesome Easter, and I'm so grateful. Actually, I'm going tomorrow to Mel's church for the Palm Sunday.
You are? Okay. Oh, I was going to ask you. I was wondering. Okay.
Everything's perfect. And, he's cool too. He's really tied in with a lot of the intel.
Oh, so, I'm sure he is. What a fascinating person. Love you, Beth. Thank you.
I love you. Have a great
and we will connect soon.
We'll do it another time.
Absolutely.
And I will tell other people about those great products because I know.
Oh, yes. We'll talk about, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, sweetie. Have a great one. Bye.